Oh boy, if that would have been the Philadelphia Eagles last night, I'll tell you right now, the Bitterbirds wouldn't be here today. We would have already jumped off the bridge and our bodies would be floating in the river. Oh, you silly, silly, silly Seahawks. Mike Owens is here. I'm Adrian Fedke. We're talking Super Bowl 49 today. Oh my God, the Jermaine Kearse catch, Pete Carroll's dumb decision. Mike, can you imagine if that was Andy Reid making that play call?
If Andy Reid was making that play call, he might be dead after the game. He wouldn't
We would have been
survive.
the ones pulling the trigger, by the way.
Yeah, and the rest of Philadelphia, including us, we would have been jumping off the bridge if the game would have ended like that for the Eagles. But quite the Super Bowl we had. It's going to go down as one of the all-time great Super Bowls. I mean, coming into the game, it had the potential to be a great matchup, and in the end, we got what we wanted. It came down to the final few seconds, and really didn't want either team to win. But I'm just glad that it was an insane ending, and it gave everyone a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's giving the bitter birds a lot to talk about as well. So let's talk about this play call. All right, so you had Jermaine Kearse come up with this miraculous 33-yard catch down the right sideline. Malcolm Butler was the one that, tipped it up in the air with his left hand. The fluttering ball comes down, lands in Kearse's lap. He bobbles it a couple times, and he eventually corrals it for a 33-yard reception. Very, very reminiscent of David Tyree's helmet catch, just, the craziness of it all. And then 2 plays later, after Marshawn Lynch barrels for 4 yards on first down, the Seahawks inconceivably throw a slant pass to a guy with 18 career receptions. Instead of giving it to your all-pro running back, you give it to a guy that had no business getting that ball in that situation.
Don't understand the play call at all. I think what happened was Pete Carroll was, so excited with what was about to potentially just happen. The Seahawks winning, back-to-back Super Bowls that, he got a little too excited and he decided to be aggressive and throw the ball. And it proved to be costly because it seemed like the Patriots knew the exact play that the Seahawks were going to run. So, why in the world you don't give, Marshawn Lynch the ball in that situation? I really have no idea. You got to give him the ball. I mean, you essentially have 3 downs to get 1 yard with Marshawn Lynch. And, Pete Carroll said after the game that he didn't like the situation because the Patriots came out with a, goal line front. Well, I don't care what kind of front the Patriots are coming out with in that situation. I mean, you got beast mode in the backfield. I mean, you got to give him the ball.
Yeah, yeah, makes absolutely no sense. No sense whatsoever. I mean, oh man, you had like what 50 seconds left on after Lynch runs for first down on that first down. So you got 50 seconds left, and it was interesting because the Patriots were letting the clock run down, and I was covering the game at work with the colleague of mine, and we're both saying the same thing. We're like, why aren't the Patriots calling a timeout? And you made that point last night. It's because the Patriots knew it was coming, And post game, Jimmy Garoppolo was saying something about how they were working on this play in practice, that little rub route with the slant pattern, and they must have knew it was coming because Butler, he broke on that pass right away. He knew it was coming. He anticipated it beautifully. And the thing that Garoppolo was saying too was, they were running that play at practice, and Butler was getting burned. He didn't get burned yesterday. He was the hero.
Yeah. If you would have told me that Malcolm Butler was going to make the game clinching play in the Super Bowl, first off, I would have to scratch my head a little bit first to think about who Malcolm Butler is, And then second off, I would just say, yeah, you're a crazy person, and what the hell are you talking about? I don't even think that anybody in the entire world that thought that Malcolm Butler was going to be involved in the game deciding play. But this is a guy who no one really knows about because he's an undrafted rookie out of West Alabama. So it was a hell of a play. Everyone's going to talk about the Seahawks not running the ball there, but I think that you have to give credit to Malcolm Butler because he really made a spectacular play, and he had to respond immediately on the play to get the interception.
Yeah, it's crazy because he was, part of that play 2 plays prior. He tips the ball away. And for him to, bounce back like that after making a play that, Jermaine Kearse, that miraculous catch, and for him to do that, win the game, that's unbelievable. It really is. Um, you know, you referenced it a little bit earlier about Carroll saying post game, they threw the ball because they were going to run it on 3rd and 4th down, and I don't really see it, man. I mean, there was enough time to run the ball 3 times. I get that they only had like 1 timeout left, but there was plenty of time to run the ball 3 times. I don't know. I'm sorry. And even if you call a pass play there, why are you calling a slant from the 1 yard line? It makes no sense whatsoever. All that clutter. What, you got 10 yards in the end zone and you're at the 1 yard line. So you're running a slant with very, very minimal room. It just the whole play was a disaster to begin with. Why you don't run Wilson out on a little run pass option, I will never understand.
I'll never understand that either. I mean, you got Wilson, a guy, he's a running quarterback, and you don't utilize that in a key situation. And I think it came down to a case where Pete Carroll outsmarted himself. He tried to think about it too much, and in a situation like that, you just got to go back to the fundamentals of football. You got to look what you got in your backfield there, and you got Marshawn Lynch, and you got 1 yard to go to win the Super Bowl, and well, he didn't put the ball in his hands, and instead you try to throw the ball in the middle of the end zone where really anything can happen, deflections, interceptions, and well, that's what happened, an interception.
Now, the other thing that Pete Carroll was saying was, the Patriots, they stacked the box. That to me is a load of bullshit too, because Marshawn Lynch carried the ball 24 times, 102 yards. It was a very bulldozing performance toting the rock. He was, punishing defenders. The man was a fucking beast. He's called beast mode for a reason, because he fucking drags defenders on his back. You're telling me he couldn't get in from a yard out, even if they stacked the box? Come on, man. It's not like, it kind of reminded me a little bit, talking Eagles here, since we are an Eagles show. San Francisco, week 4, the Eagles were at the 1 yard line. They had 3rd and 4th down. They didn't give the ball to Shady. They instead, threw the ball twice. Well, in that game, McCoy only had 19 yards. So it was almost like, all right, the line was banged up. McCoy wasn't really running well. So you can almost understand why you throw the ball twice. That situation just, what the fuck? Why? Why? No sense.
Yeah, exactly. And McCoy and Marshawn Lynch are obviously 2 different running backs, so that's why with Marshawn Lynch's build, I mean the guy's practically a fullback, so you got to give Lynch the ball there, and you could maybe see why you're talking about the San Fran game, why the Eagles wouldn't give the ball to McCoy in a similar type of situation because he's not built to bulldoze into the end zone like that, but that's what Lynch is built for. So, yeah, very, very baffling.
Yeah, it really is. All right, so let's move on to Tom Brady, Tom Bieber, as some people like to call him, the Golden Boy. Yeah, he's got a 4th Super Bowl now. Ties Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw for the most all time. He tossed his 13th career touchdown pass in the Super Bowl in the game. sets a new benchmark for quarterbacks, surpassing his boyhood idol, Joe Montana. So, you know, the Seahawks wouldn't have been in a position to have to drive the ball down the field had Brady not gone 8 for 8, 65 yards on that touchdown drive, finds Julian Edelman for a 3-yard score with 2:02 left. That puts the Patriots up 28-24. So the heroics of Tom Brady strikes again, comes back from a 24-14 deficit. He finishes, 37 of 50, I believe, 328 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, shakes off the 2 interceptions from early on. I mean, Tom Brady, man, one of the best of all time, I got to say. As much as I hate the guy, boy can ball.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, you really, can't argue with the point. I mean, Tom Brady, when it comes to the postseason and in the Super Bowl, the guy just gets it done. And you look at that game yesterday. He was pretty much. He was struggling a little bit throughout the game, but when it came to the fourth quarter, I mean, he just, picked it up. He got on another level, and he put the Patriots on his back, and he, gave him another Super Bowl title. And my favorite moment, I really started laughing when I saw Tom Brady jumping up and down on the sideline like a little boy in the candy store.
Yeah, he was like this. He was jumping up and down, doing little circles. Oh man, Tom, terrific, as I like to say. All right, so I guess we could break down the game a little bit further now. The game really turned a little bit. Jeremy Lane goes down. He makes the interception in the end zone in the first quarter, and the Patriots really exploited Harold Simon with Julian Edelman, Brandon LaFell, with slant patterns, the quick little pivot route that Edelman was running. I mean, his short area quickness was way too much for Simon. So they really exploited that matchup. So it almost, the game turned out to be a battle of backups, really. You had Malcolm Butler against Harold Simon. So, it's crazy how that happens. But, yeah, the Seahawks, man, I mean, you had the Legion of Boom, best secondary football, best defensive football. But the Patriots, they just know how to exploit weaknesses, man. And they did it. They did it again. And they did it with a conservative approach, throwing a lot of short passes, a little dink and dunk. They took the occasional shot down the field with Gronkowski when they had the one-on-one matchup with the linebacker. So, Bill Belichick, man, he's a mastermind, and yeah, that's all I can say about that.
But yeah, what's pretty crazy about the Patriots attack was yesterday was like the guy Blunt was the main guy in the backfield there, and here's a guy who started out the year with the Steelers, was smoking up a little bit with Le'Veon Bell. Then he got pissed off at Bell because he realized that Bell was a lot better than him. So he got a ticket out of Pittsburgh, and well, he didn't have to fly too far. He went to there to Boston with the Patriots here, and playing in Foxborough. Well, it worked out quite well for him, and I was kind of surprised how much the Patriots used them yesterday. They really went with the ground attack, and like you said, a lot of short passes.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same kind of thing they did 2 years ago when they played the Seahawks. Really conservative approach, trying to manage the third down situations, manageable situations where you can move the chains, and they did that. I mean, I also remember too once Lane went out, that first drive that they had, 4 of their 7 passes that they threw on their first touchdown drive, they targeted Simon. So really exploited that matchup. I believe they only targeted Richard Sherman like one time, it was curious to me. It was funny because like early on you had Gronk line up on the right side of the field, one-on-one with Sherman, and I was just like, the fuck are they doing that for?
Yeah.
But worked out for the best.
Yeah, it's Mr. Lane there. It's a kind of a shame for him because the guy gets his first ever interception in the NFL, and then he goes and decides to break his wrist.
Mm.
And I tell you what, if I'm sure that, most of you have seen the pictures, right after it happened of his wrist, but yeah, not too pretty. I wouldn't check it out if you don't do good with that kind of gruesome stuff, but a nasty injury and tough for him. And then the Seahawks also ended up losing like Cliff Averill. He had a concussion, so I mean, the Seahawks really got banged up. And I'll tell you, I mean, honestly, I really thought the Seahawks had it, but I mean, you got to give it up to Tom Brady because he really brought him back there at the end when it really looked like all hope was lost for the Patriots.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed in the first half, the Seahawks were really struggling to generate pressure on Brady. Obviously, it was 14-14 at halftime because, no one's going to be talking about. I guess we'll talk about this later, where Carroll went for it there with 6 seconds left in the first half. But basically, my point is here. The Seahawks dominated the third quarter because they were able to get to Brady, and the biggest reason for that was Michael Bennett. They lined him up inside, attacking Ryan Wendell and Dan Connolly, the interior of the Patriots line. Attacking those guards. They were exploiting the weakness there. So it was a lot reminiscent of when they had Justin Tuck going after Brady in the Super Bowls in the past. So they were doing a great job of getting to Brady in the third quarter. Obviously, the Seattle generated a 24-14 lead, and most of that was because of Bennett. They got the big interception by I'm trying to remember who it was. It Bobby Wagner that picked it off.
Yeah,
Great
Bob
play by him.
Wagner.
Yeah, cut in front of Gronk. So they were up 10. They were in a position to taste the rainbow for a second straight year. It just didn't happen.
No, didn't happen. And you go back to the end of the first half there, like you were saying. Very, very gutsy call by the Seahawks. I really felt like, that kind of switched the momentum to the Seahawks for a while, and they had it really until the end of the game there. But that was a really big play. You're down 14-7 and 6 seconds left, and they come out and they decide to throw the ball. If that doesn't work out for them, they might go into the half without any points on that drive. So it was a very gutsy call, but I mean, it turned out to be the right passing play, and it worked out for him.
Yeah, it was really the only thing you could do with 11 seconds left. You're not going to run a slant or anything with 6 seconds left. There's just not enough time to call a timeout. So, I remember when they were initially going for it, I didn't agree with it. I was like, just take your points, take the field goal. So, really gutsy call by Carroll. And if the Seahawks would have won, that would have been the difference of the game. But instead, no one's going to remember that anymore because obviously his boneheaded call at the end is what everyone's going to remember now.
Yep, silly Pete Carroll. He got a little bit too excited.
Oh, you silly goose. Oh, man. All right. What else happened in this game? Oh, you had Chris Matthews. Chris Matthews didn't have a catch in his career until the Super Bowl. And goddamn, man, he can go up and get a jump ball, I'll tell you that. Had two of them against Kyle Arrington. Did a great job adjusting in the air and coming down with a catch. 6'5" guy. He was like, what was he? They said he was a rookie of the year last year in the CFL. So I'm trying to remember what team he played. It might have been the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yeah, he was a Blue Bomber, good old Blue Bomber. Everyone knows about the Blue Bombers. So yeah, crazy story with him. I think that Foot Locker probably has a line of people outside today, filling their applications, trying to get a job as a security guard there because they want to get that call from their favorite NFL team. So a wild story. The guy comes into the playoffs with more defensive stats than he has offensive stats. So for him to freaking make an impact like that in the Super Bowl, I mean, it's a hell of a story, and really, it here in Philadelphia, it almost reminds you of the movie Invincible, with Vince Papale.
Mm,
It's everyone's dream to, try out for their favorite team and actually make it. But for this guy to actually have a huge impact in the Super Bowl, I mean, that guy's just living the dream yesterday.
yeah, yeah, he really did. All right, so trying to think of what else to talk about. I think we pretty much covered all bases of this game. I guess we'll talk a little bit about this Katy Perry halftime performance. I was very, very disappointed. I didn't really care about the singing. I was hoping that, she would wear a lot less clothing. She wore way too much clothing for my taste.
Yeah, the only chance we really had for the clothes to come off was when she was, by the people that were dressed up in the shark costumes. Now, if I was one of those guys in a shark costume, I mean, you gotta take one for the team, you know. You gotta get the wardrobe malfunction in, but none of the sharks wanted to take one for the team. They must have been females in those shark costumes, or what they should have done if they were smart, they would have put Justin Timberlake in one of those shark costumes. Then we would have got a wardrobe malfunction. But unfortunately, there's no wardrobe malfunction. But yeah, obviously the halftime show is more of a performance and a singing act. So, as far as the overall performance, pretty impressive with all the stuff that they can do these days with the animations and the people dressed up in costumes and dancing, and her coming out on the tiger. Yeah, just wild.
It does not even come remotely close to my boy Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars should be performing at halftime every single year. Every single fucking year. All right? Because, I mean, he blew Katy Perry right out of the water, in my opinion. But you know that I love Bruno, so I'm a big Bruno guy. The other thing I wanted to say, yeah, like you were saying about the Sharks, man, like I was waiting for one of them to take a big bite out of her, big bite out of her, rip off the clothes, but didn't happen, unfortunately. A lot of trees that were smiling. I mean, for the people that like to smoke marijuana, you guys would have gotten a nice little trip watching that halftime performance.
Yeah, that's for sure. A lot of stuff going on in that halftime performance. Um, but yeah, I'm sure you probably didn't get to see too many commercials because you were, covering the game at work. But not really much to talk about with the commercials. It was a very, very serious this year because the NFL, they've had a lot of stuff go on with all the domestic violence this year. So it was really more like a family-oriented, serious commercials, a lot of network commercials. So uh, not too many funny ones there. The only my favorite one was it was a Fiat commercial, and it was an old man and he was trying to take his Viagra pill and he missed it. It went out the window and then it ended up in going into a car and it like jacked up the car.
No,
Really
I did see that one. I
funny.
did see that one. That one was actually probably one of my favorites as well. I'm trying to really think of like ones that I like because I didn't really think the commercials were that great. You had the one talking about balls, which I thought was kind of corny. What was it? The Doritos one, where the guy goes, get a pig to fly, and you can have my Doritos. I thought that was like kind of cute, I guess. But other than that, not really seeing much. I guess the Brady Bunch one was okay, but I really wasn't like around for that time period, so I didn't really watch the Brady Bunch. But the guy at work really liked that one. It was funny because the age disparity, because you had me, I'm 27, and then you had the guy at work. I couldn't tell you how old Scott is, but I'm gonna say he's in his 40s. And it was funny because the age disparity. He thought the Katy Perry performance was like the worst halftime performance of all time. He couldn't stand it. He hated it. And the commercials, he was like, yeah, there's nothing good. He liked the Brady Bunch one. That was his favorite one.
Yeah, no, it really all depends on the age factor there. But yeah, the I missed the commercials back in the day when you had the Budweiser frogs,
Yeah.
and things like that. Anymore, it's like we're getting like too serious. We need to go back in time, and just have some fun with these commercials.
Yeah, yeah, the what's up, guys. What's up?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, but as far as the game goes, great game, and it's we really couldn't ask for much more. He really go down to the final seconds there, so um, hell of a game, and well, it's the end of the 2014 season now.
Yeah, it is officially over. I gotta agree with you. I think it's in my opinion, it's already a top five Super Bowl of all time. Just it was close throughout. Even though the Seahawks led by 10 points, we knew that the Patriots would, kind of charge back into it. You're not going to count out Tom Brady in that situation. So, the crazy ending, the controversy, it was a well played game. I love this Super Bowl. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. It was hell of a Super Bowl, and like you said, it's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. And not just because of the game, because you have all the stuff leading up to it with the Flakegate,
Mm,
and now what's more interesting about this is what's going to happen. After now, what's the NFL? What are they going to come down with their ruling? What are they going to say? Have the Patriots been doing this all season? So it's going to be interesting to see, what happens with that, and the whole Deflategate thing. Really plays a big part in this game because that's how the Patriots got to the Super Bowl.
yeah, yeah. No one was allowed to touch the balls yesterday. No touching the
Only
balls, no rubbing, no
they
no
had
deflation.
they had a neutral ball rubber. He did not favor Seahawk balls or Patriot balls. He was neutral ball rubber.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. All right, I think we've pretty much run out of things to say about this game. This is probably where we should cut it off. We went a lot longer than we thought we were. We were thinking we're going to go like 15 minutes, but you know we we uh we like to go longer than expected. That's what she said.
There you go. That we do.
Yeah, endurance, baby.
Yeah, but I guess for final thoughts.
Yeah,
Talk
we can
about
do it.
the fight there at the end of the game. Well, I was hoping that Gronk was just gonna take off his jersey, take off his shoulder pads, and just go pure street mode and just start knocking guys out. But we didn't get that. We got close though. He was pushing guys down, and the Seahawks, they couldn't take the fact that they were going to lose the game, and well, they decided to get a bit chippy and become sore losers, and Gronk wasn't going to have any of that.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. We forgot about to talk about the fight. It's kind of a little bit low class there by the Seahawks there at the end. You can't win every time, guys. You can't win every time, and when they lose, that's how they act. I will say this though, I will give Richard Sherman some credit. His post game, he didn't complain. He was very, very humbled. So I gotta give. I actually gained a lot of respect for the guy last night. Although his reaction was kind of priceless. It was a little bit like Des Bryant's reaction from that divisional game.
Yeah, it actually really was like that. The Yeah, I mean, Sherman's he kind of ran into a little bit of an unfortunate situation, last year after the NFC title game because I mean, they really shouldn't interview, guys like right after they make a big play, at the end of the game. It's just not fair. Their emotions are running high. I mean, even this Super Bowl, you look. they wanted. You see, they're trying to interview like Malcolm Butler like right after the game. They're
Mm.
like running up to him and trying to get an interview. I mean, you got to give these guys some time to relax.
Yeah, you make a good point there because Pete Carroll was like visibly numb during his post-game press conference. I mean, he was struggling to get words out. He was just shell shocked by everything. He couldn't think. I mean, he was like, yeah, he was like a zombie.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if they tried to interview us right after a big Eagles loss. I don't think we would be, sitting here and, not talking nice and calm. I'm sure there would be a lot of curse words. It might be things, flying around, throwing stuff. So, yeah, I'll never understand them, trying to interview these guys, right after a big game, especially, the Super Bowl, after they make a big play. These guys don't know what the heck to say. I mean, Malcolm Butler, like I said, a guy who probably didn't even think that he would ever be playing in the Super Bowl is, making the winning play. So, yeah, that's my thoughts there.
Yeah. All right. So you gave your final thoughts. Did a great show today. Covered all bases. Great Super Bowl, Super Bowl 49. Hopefully the Eagles are in it next year. There's always next year, and there is a chance. So yeah, I'm saying there is a chance. All right. So with that being said, that's Mike Owens. I'm Adrian. Thank you. Who knows what we're going to talk about next week? Maybe we're going to talk about Nick Foles. I think Nick Foles would be a good topic of discussion because he's kind of getting lost in the shuffle. We're not going to give anything away, though. We're just going to talk about him next week. All right, so later, guys. Enjoy our show. Enjoy it. It was a great Super Bowl. Go ahead, Mike. You can say one last thing before we go.
Silly Seahawks.
All right, guys.